Hello, Sagittarius, and welcome to your Year of the Fire Horse tarot reading. In this reading, we are going to be pulling cards to find out exactly what this year is going to bring to you via the tarot. It's simple as that. So I am going to be looking at a couple of different areas of your life, but we're going to start off first with a representation card for this year of the Fire Horse 2026. So a representation of this year's energy for you, Sag. Feeling this card. Oh, this has been happening the entire time, by the way. Knight of Cups. So this year isn't necessarily a huge year. It's not a dramatic year for you, Sag. This is a year of, I feel like such a broken record because you are the third sign that I'm doing these readings for. Excuse me. And every single one of the readings so far, movement is a huge theme, which it's kind of like, yeah, duh. Like the year of the horse is a mover. And also in the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith tarot, the artwork depicted for the knights is the knight sitting on top of a horse, right? Sitting atop a horse. Obviously, we have dragons here because this is the Dragon Tarot, which is a deck that I was called to use to do these readings specifically. But yeah, it's going to be a card of movement. It has a horse in it, the year, but also this card. And yeah, I guess I was just kind of like needing to say that for myself, maybe, or maybe it was something that helped you out. But yeah, this year is a card of movement, but this isn't hasty movement, which would have been more Knight of Swords. This isn't like slow and steady movement, which would have also been the Knight of Pentacles. This is a Knight of Cups, which is still not as fast as even the Knight of Fire, which is the Knight of Wands. So the Knight of Cups is kind of like, yeah, we're moving, but we're not moving super slow either. So progress is being made and it's not so slow to where you require that much patience, but depending on how fiery you are, you might require some patience. It just really depends where you are on the spectrum. But that's just kind of like the feeling that I'm getting for the year as a whole. And obviously, you know, the cups is the suit of water, the water element. This is emotions. So this year, I'm not going to say, oh, this is going to be an emotional year for you. I mean, it can present that way depending on where you're at in your spiritual and your emotional journey. But the Knight of Cups, this is a card of movement in your emotions. It may mean that you're going to be going through some emotions. I mean, I feel like that's so broad in general, especially with the state of the world, right? Or maybe even if you're someone in the United States, even the state of the states, the state of the states. That sounds funny. But yeah, I guess what I'm trying to say is things are going to be in an emotional way for things are going to be emotional for you in a way that isn't super exhausting or detrimental, despite the way that things have been going. So maybe you're coming from an extremely emotional state or maybe a really chill state. And this is kind of like saying, if it's been a lot, it's going to be a little less. If it's been a little, it's going to be a little more. It's not in extremes. So this is the energy of that year. Okay. Now, how can you best work with this energy or meet this energy so that you don't feel swept by it or taken by surprise? I mean, just tuning into this reading already is going to give you some of that. But let's see what card comes out for you, Sag. The Ace of Wands. So you are a fire element. The Ace of Wands, the suit of fire, it has to do with inspiration, passion, but also spirituality. And the ace being the beginning of the suit, it's like this brand new spark of motivation or an idea, or all of a sudden this epiphany arises that seemingly came out of nowhere and it leads you down a path. It's almost like saying that in order for you to face this year in a way that doesn't feel like you're just going along with the energy is to face it head on, not technically being super aggressive with it, but use your dominant energy that you naturally have in order to take on this year. Because if you do end up in some type of an emotional place, either more or less than you're used to, it may feel like you don't have a choice. And the Ace of Wands is here to tell you, you definitely have a choice. Your perspective is going to dictate majority of, you know, how things actually end up feeling. And the quicker that you understand that, the more power you're going to gain in whatever situation that is. Okay, so let's look at this year in terms of career. I mean, if you're not interested in career or you're feeling pretty set, then maybe ignore this portion or just stick around and see what comes out. I'm getting all of these cards for that. So maybe it'll be okay. Okay, so here we go with the emotional part of it, of the year. So in regards to career, we have the Seven of Pentacles, Death in the middle, and Five of Cups. Now, Seven of Pentacles is you're hustling and bustling. You're doing the work. You're putting in the hours. You might be doing the overtime. You might be taking work home. And you really want to be recognized for your work. Now, this may or may not happen, but you continuing to put in that work at work is going to lead you to a pretty big transformation. And like a lot of transformations and a lot of change to most of us, it's not going to be very comfortable. And I don't say this because the Death card came out. The Death card itself is transformation, but just because the Five of Cups came out. And the Five of Cups is a card of, you know, feeling a type of sadness. And it's not because everything is horrible or because there's no way to get out of a situation that may seem less than ideal. It's because you're focusing on the spilt milk, basically, on the spilt cups, as opposed to the entire picture, right? So this isn't so much like something to avoid as much as something to just see through. So keep doing what you're doing, because you're either entering into an era where you are becoming that worker person, or like that person that maybe even other coworkers may be like, okay, they're doing too much. Or like, why are you doing the work of two people? Is what some people may be asking. Or how come every time there's a problem at work, they're calling on you? And it's not because people are incompetent. It's because you're that competent. Okay. And this might lead to maybe you wanting or questioning actually why you're still there or why you're not being compensated. And maybe that's the transformation that needs to take place, because maybe you didn't see that value you had before, which can also lead to some sadness, because it also makes you feel like maybe you betrayed yourself or you didn't respect yourself. Because if you had understood how much you were giving to others, then maybe you would have felt like others were going to also understand your worth. But maybe I'm reading into this a bit too much, but it seems like that's what's going on for your career. So I don't just want to leave you hanging with that. Let's see what we can pull in regards to how you can best handle this transformation, this situation. Four of Wands. Okay, beautiful. Beautiful energy. Wait, maybe I should. Okay, now I'm going to scoot these up because I'm going to put this one. I kind of almost want to put it over the Death card. Yeah, let's do that. Four of Wands. Four of Wands. In this specific artwork, you see these dragons celebrating. They're having a good time. And this can also mean any type of celebration. In some cases, it can be marriage, but this is in terms of finances, career finances, your money, your pentacles. This is your career. So it's kind of like sometimes things need to break a little in order to come together in a better way and be more solid. So what can you do? Don't forget that you're not in this by yourself. You do have allies and you do have a community, even though you may not be seeing it. Maybe you do. So if you do, awesome, amazing, lean on them for support. But if you don't, maybe do a little bit of introspective work and see where you may be misinterpreting that. And maybe talking to those people that have lent you a hand in the past or have seen your value in the past and talk about, the topic at hand. You don't have to share too much. Test the waters, because it's also not about rushing in. Okay. This year is not the year to rush in. You're also shown that by this being a Knight of Cups year for you. where yes, there's movement, but there's no rushing in, okay? So you are asked to take initiative, but that doesn't mean you're going in guns a-blazing, okay? I feel like that's just the general message for everyone. Everyone needs to listen to that. I think it would just help us in general in life, but that's just the energy that I keep getting every single time well, actually, it's something that's just been in my mind's eye, a big part of the collective energy for like the past few months. That's been the lesson that's been hammered and hammered and hammered into me. And then it's just been coming through when I'm doing these Year of the Fire Horse readings, tarot readings. Okay, so that kind of sums up for now the career, the finances aspect. Let's look at what's coming through in terms of relationships, social connection. And this can be romantic or not. It doesn't have to be either. It can be both, okay? So what can we expect for the year of 2026 Fire Horse? Ooh. This one just came out. I want to pull maybe one more. Oh, the bottom one's also calling to me. Okay, 2 major arcanas. And I just realized I've been recording with this phone crooked this entire time. Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. Yeah, don't mind me. New tarot reader. Well, not new tarot reader, new YouTube tarot reader. Okay, the Emperor, 5 Pentacles, and Judgment. This is in regards to your social relationships, your social connections. Okay, so we have the Emperor. This to me felt, this is Big Daddy energy, okay? So this to me felt like someone in your social atmosphere is carrying this energy. This may be a potential romantic relationship, but it doesn't have to be. The 5 of Pentacles is kind of telling me that this message came up for the last fire sign, which was Leo. And I don't want to be redundant, but I'm feeling called to say the same thing. And I've been feeling a similar energy. So I don't know if you have somebody that's a Leo in your life. Maybe you're a Leo rising, a Leo moon. Yeah, maybe a Leo moon. But it's coming up. Something between you and Leo is similar. But yeah, so the 5 Pentacles, we have all of these creatures running in one direction. They look like they're running away from something. It looks like they feel like they're in danger, even though maybe there's no real threat, which is why it doesn't look like they're running, but there's something that they're leaving behind. And this is not the happiest card in the tarot in general. In the regular Rider-Waite-Smith tarot artwork, there is two people that are outside of like what is supposed to be a church. And they're out in the snow and they look injured and they're just not having the best of times. So maybe your social connections in the past, whether those were romantic or not, those relationships, which could also include family members if, you know, you're close to your family or you're not, have been strained. There's been this sense of things are not safe. Things feel like I can't just talk to y'all and like relax my body and put my feet up. And that's going to change this year. And maybe that's why this year is going to be like an emotions, a watery year. But I want to say that, and I feel like I kind of said that, but I'm going to touch base on it again. This is not saying that it's going to be an emotionally chaotic year or that you're going to be crying every day, okay? Emotions are, oh my gosh, I don't even know how many emotions there are, but I'm just going to tell you, we don't just have 3 emotions, okay? I am not even going to try to say how many because I know I could totally misquote this, but there is something called an emotions wheel. Look it up on the internet, Google, whatever, and look at how many emotions there are. Emotions are all of that, which include happy emotions, right? Like joy. And it's showing that it's a year of emotions for you doesn't mean that it's going to be all pain or that you're going to be, you know, out of control. It just means that you're going to be able to explore this vast emotional wheel, I guess. You're going to be able to explore that. And maybe in the past you felt like you couldn't because you had to maybe work, you know, but you're going to be able to tap into different types of emotions this year. And it's going to be a good thing because it seems like it's going to allow you to leave this feeling of not being able to have your tribe, find your people, feel safe with social connection. And the reason I say that is because we have this Judgment card here. And this Judgment card is, I hate saying the same words all the time, but initiation comes really, really fast when this card pops up for me. And initiation into what? Initiation into something that is, I don't want to say the complete opposite, but it is not this anymore. And maybe it's because the Emperor comes in. Maybe they trigger something in you. And this isn't like a bad trigger. This is like a good trigger. Like maybe they help you realize something, or maybe their presence shows you, or maybe they are someone who is safe for you, which shows you that there is potential. There's potential in other people as well to be able to provide that feeling in your body, that emotion of safety. It should actually have been that emotion and feeling of safety, but I don't know, for some reason those flipped in my head. But yeah, like this Judgment moment, you know what? I want to put more cards on it. Tell me more about the Judgment card for Sagittarius. I also feel like you're a very spiritual person. I feel like that's also a cop-out to say. I knew the Devil card was going to come out. I feel like that's a cop-out to say because if you're watching tarot readings, most of the time you are going to be a spiritual person. I would say, I don't know, if I was to throw out a percentage there, maybe like 90% of the people that watch tarot readings are some type of spiritual. But okay, more about the Judgment. We have the Seven of Cups and we have the Devil. So it's almost like saying this initiation is going to open up so much opportunities for you. And here we have the Cups yet again. So Cups, emotions. It's going to open up so many opportunities in terms of the emotions that you can now feel. It's not just going to be sadness, anger, happiness. It's going to be so many more emotions. And that's going to allow you to also be able to understand other people and their actual intentions towards you. Because you can't read other people's intentions if you're not in tune with your own emotions. Like, how do you know someone's happy? There's certain signs that you read from them. There's certain things, certain types of body language that you can read off of them. That intelligence, that emotional intelligence only comes through if you yourself are intelligent when it comes to emotions, which can only happen if you're familiar with said emotions. You can't explain what a certain color looks like to someone who doesn't understand the concept of color, right? So that's kind of like what I'm getting here. The Devil coming out is interesting because it's kind of like saying you might be having so much fun exploring these new emotions that you may need to rein it in a little bit. So it's not a bad thing. And it's not like, oh my God, you're going to be in trouble because the Devil card came out. It's just kind of like saying, don't get carried away literally with your emotions. Don't get carried away. Don't go and hop on the horse and then try to go as fast as possible with your emotions, you know. Kind of keep that pace that I said where it's tempered, it's a little more steady, and you're checking it, not because you're being anal about it and not because you're trying to control everything, but just because you want to make sure that you're still good and that you're going in the direction that you're trying to go in when it comes to, you know, your emotional exploration, which it seems like this year is going to be big for you on. I mean, we got a lot of cup cards here, you know, but yeah, Sagittarius, this was an interesting reading. The energy felt much different than the last two fire signs that I just did. So I think it's because this isn't going to be, it didn't feel like a heavy year for you, like I said in the beginning. So maybe that's why the energy felt different than the other two, because the other two felt a little bit heavier, even though there is some commonality there with you and Leo. Like I said, if that resonates, maybe you want to look at the Leo reading. I don't know. Do what's best for you. Thank you for listening and staying this long, and I'm wishing you the best this year. See you in the next reading. Goodbye.